today we're going to be doing something a little different. Instead of a craft or just something to do, we're going to have a book talk. Just like we started at the beginning of the month, one of my resolutions, and hopefully all of your resolutions, were to read more books. So I thought maybe together we could start reading books. And since it's our first one, I did pick the first one, which is the book Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I've heard people rave and rave about this book, so I finally thought I would give it a try and make it my first book of 2021. So if you did not know, this book, Cemetery Boys, is about a young Latino boy named Yadriel, who is a brujo. And a brujo in this book is someone who can do magic. And there's a whole brujex community that they have, and they're trying to set up for the Day of the Dead, which is just 2 days away. And Yadriel was trying to prove himself as a true brujo. And so he goes behind tradition, behind his family's back, and finds his own magic himself. Doing this causes a lot of trouble for him, because right as he starts his magic, his cousin is actually murdered, and now he has to hide his magic while trying to help his family. You figure out who murdered his cousin, and he accidentally summons the wrong ghost. And you think, how do you accidentally summon the wrong ghost? Also, it was just a bunch of twists and turns in this type of book. And he accidentally summons the resident bad boy, Julian Diaz. And it's the story between a ghost boy and this boy who does magic, and it's all about learning about themselves and acceptance, and it's a really interesting story, and just a bunch of things look good about it. A lot of the ratings were pretty high, about average. They were like 9 out of 10, which is pretty good for a book. My personal rating is 8.5 out of 10, because it's a really, really nice book, really well paced. The world building is done very well. It's just something that you are already familiar with, taken to the next level. And I would say it's a very well done book, but it's not 100% perfect, so that's why it's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. And if you have read this book, you know the characters are very just relatable, and they're believable. You don't think, well, that's not something a teenager would do. Yadriel and Julian are both very relatable little teenagers in the best possible way. And so I believe that this is a really good book, and I hope that maybe this is something you guys would like to read. And if you have already read Cemetery Boys, things like it are the books called Felix Ever After by Kason Calendar. We have Clap Your Hands by Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Asvendito. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And then The Fascinators by Andrew Elliott. And if you have not read this book, I would like to give a warning that mentions a death of a parent. And there is mentions of blood in the book for ritualistic purposes. There's misgendering and kind of like body dysmorphia, if that's something that you don't want to experience or read about. And that's completely fine if you choose not to, but I do highly recommend this book if you're looking for something fun, a bit fantasy but not high fantasy, with relatable teenage characters. And so that is the book for January. And I would like to go ahead and talk about February's books. I would like for us to read the book together. So if you guys would like to choose, we have 3 different books here. We have Before the Ever After by Jacqueline Woodson. And this book is about ZJ and his football star father, who's going through a lot of family problems, and then just kind of goes between their quarrels and how they can fix it. So it's a very sentimental book, I would say. This one is much more of a fantasy book. You Were Never Here by Kathleen Peacock. The character Kat discovers she has magical powers and doesn't tell anyone until she has to go back to her hometown 5 years since being there, and discovers that her ex-best friend is missing, and there's been a girl found in the river. It's not a murder mystery, she is found alive, but something fishy is definitely going on. So she has to decide if she wants to share these powers with other people or figure it out all by herself. So a bit similar to Cemetery Boys if you like that book or you want to read something similar to it. And then we do have this third book. It's called Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I'll go ahead and just move that one down. There is the book Dear Justice, which is the second book with it. They're pretty popular here recently. Dear Martin is about the boy Justice from his point of view, who's in this Ivy League, about to go to Ivy League school. He's the debate captain. Everything's going great for him until he gets put in handcuffs and a lot of back and forth with his peers and students. And he's writing to Martin. So if there's one of these three books that really interests you, you can go ahead and comment it, or you could just let us know one way or another. If you have read Cemetery Boys, we'd love to know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. So, well, thank you, and I hope to see you at the next month's book talk, and that will be the last Wednesday of the month. So thank you.